He's suave, debonair,
so courageous.
the epitome of cool.
You rule.
His name is
Elric. ML Elric.
He's almost too good looking.
International Male
Podcaster.
The style and the hair, it's almost like the new afro for the white man.
But behind those eyes is a highly trained man of
Fashion.
You asked interrogative questions around my face. It's gone.
What are you doing? Come on.
That is not paid for by them. That is paid for by the people of Detroit.
You might be qualified, M.L.
I'm not qualified for this job.
Let me tell you something. You want to go right now? Okay? You want to go right now, Elric?
Hey kids, it's your old pal, ML Elric, man of fashion, which is particularly relevant because our merchandise shop is open. This is a limited opportunity for you to get some of our great ML Soul of Detroit swag, and if you make your purchase by December 1st at 8 p.m., it'll ship before the holidays. If you don't make your purchase by December 1st at 8 p.m., you can eat change. You have to wait. And as Marc is scrolling this for those of us who are soulmates and are members of our supporter group and get to watch the show, you can see our great new item, Shawn's green jacket. I don't know if you saw that.
Is there a code for that?
Did you see that?
I don't know. Is there a
You
code?
wanted a zip-up hoodie. We have one. It's in green.
Sexy.
It is the singular Shawn.
I thought it
green
would have been
jacket.
like a male bra.
A bro?
Yeah, I guess.
man's ear?
Whatever. That dates us, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well, somebody's got
You were talking
ideas.
about that pre-show, that you were vomiting some kind of boob size something or other on your man breasts. I wasn't.
Glad we shared that.
Great
instead
way
of
to
your-
open a show. People love hearing about vomit.
Wasn't clear.
This episode brought to you by the Michigan Restaurant Association. Guaranteed not to make you vomit. But our merch store is open. It's a great way to support the show and get some cool swag. We have all kinds of new items on there, including our team T-shirt. I don't know if anybody saw that one. That's one of my favorites on there. It was a lot more clever before the latest Michigan State debacle.
That's right. Yeah, 'cause it says ML coming on there.
Yeah,
You also spelled coming wrong. Isn't it with a U?
No, that means that I will be there shortly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That was
Thanks for
Gratuitous? That's what it was.
I really thought
You couldn't wait to do that.
Sean dragged us down, and then Marc
It's such
jumps
a
right in.
stupid joke.
Kind of the
Well,
Dave Portnoy of the podcast.
I was going to ask if we had half bush Merkins, like Sean likes to talk about.
What?
Your buddy Half Bush.
Merkins.
Yeah.
Oh, was that his last name?
No,
Or was that
you
just a
don't,
made
you
up
don't know
last
what,
name?
do you not know what a Merkin
No,
is?
tell me.
Yeah, he's like, is that pitcher, Merkins? No, it's not.
I guess they were talking about half bushes last week, so I don't know.
Us.
Just to fill Dan in.
Down Market,
poor Dan.
Down Market Windsor.
Why do I come on this show?
I know, poor
Yeah.
Dan.
By the way,
I couldn't believe that was the title. I saw that the other day. I'm like, what? That's the fucking title?
joining us with regret is Dan Wetzel of ESPN, who's now thinking better of it. But
no, they were talking about guys in middle school that had a dare.
He doesn't care. Yeah, Dan can listen to last week's show.
Leave it to my not imagination.
we had no idea it was going to go in that direction, which we should have known about that. But anyways, please go to mlsoulofdetroit.com. You can see a link to our merch store. It's a great way to support the show. Luke Nowacki, Pinnacle Wealth Strategies. He also supports the show. He's our presenting sponsor. If you're looking for some help managing your money, Luke and Zach can help you. We'll tell you a little later on how. And, of course, you are our biggest supporters as Patreon members. For as little as $5 a month, you can watch the show. You get it before everybody else. We eliminate all those annoying insertion ads for you. And once a month, you get our bonus episode, which I guarantee will not involve any of the weird neighborhoods Sean stays at while he's visiting. No travelogues from Sean's questionable hospitality decisions or anything about reflux conditions that a member of the cast
Way
may
to
be
just
suffering.
throw whole neighborhoods in great cities under the bus.
Whatever, Paris Hilton. We'll get back to you later. And we also want to let you know, if you want to go to the Smiths United show.
Paris Hilton, can anything be of the moment with you?
No.
She's making a comeback.
Yeah, what, right?
And
Mark?
He hasn't watched a TV show that was made after the 80s.
Or read anything or done anything outside of that Cutlass Supreme and Come on, man.
It's a Buick Riviera, but anyway. If you would like to also hang out with me before the Smiths United show on Wednesday, 26th, it's
So you can talk about the 80s?
I was thinking I might just complete a sentence before you interrupt me.
Whoa.
So you have a second to come up with something coherent.
90s with Paris.
That's true. Well, he usually talks. You're right. Good point.
A little bit.
Now, you done DuPont Circle? Can we get back to the show?
I see what you're going to do.
Okay, hang on now.
Yeah.
So if you'd like to join me at the
Being
Smiths
homophobic was also part of the 80s, too, so I guess that's true. Yeah.
Okay, Dan Wetzel's here. Dan, what's going on?
I know.
What's up, ML?
Should we just start over?
My blood pressure and Sean's acuity for good podcasting.
Yeah.
No, sorry, only one of those is true.
Now
he's got nothing to say.
Well, he wanted you to get moving on with the show and explain why Dan is here.
I did.
Well, I
Lots to talk
was
about.
trying to get some stuff out of the way. We're doing a little business here. This is what pays the
Make
bills
some money
here.
here. Let's go.
So if you'd like to go to the Smiths United show, send me an email. I'll sell you a ticket, and we'll meet at a friend of mine's house for a little pre-show party. Kevin's going to be there. I think Don's going to be there. A couple other people. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We'll have a little fellowship, and then we'll head over to the show. It's a great pre-Thanksgiving Day tradition, which is another Thanksgiving Day tradition for Shawn is to interrupt people during the prayer.
Jeez.
No. Belvin?
We're going to have to separate you two.
Oh, green jacket?
He's not going to say anything now.
No.
Which
Getting
is
fingered
really
by
great
the
that you're
basketball coach in middle school? No?
What?
Okay. So just going back to the topics he likes to talk about.
What?
The guy with the razor, manscaping.
I thought we have
Anyways, it turns out last week the University of Michigan did something, so Marc wants to talk about it. So let's get in on it.
What are you talking about?
Look at Dan.
What do you mean?
I want to know that.
Technically,
Dan
Michigan
is
State.
not happy.
Did
that
someone
he
teach you
came here.
manscaping?
They needed
Hygiene class? Did they have that?
They needed to.
That's a class they don't have anymore, right?
No, they
Thank God.
don't. That went out with typing
Thank God they
And
don't have
etiquette.
that class.
and home ec.
Broadcast etiquette.
There's something going on in college football that could possibly be the next big wave of change, similar to conference realignment, and it's the idea of private equity entering college athletics to give, to increase money because they always need more money. And the Big Ten is the first to really go down this path with a almost $2.5 billion deal where they'd give up their rights, their media rights for 21 years. And every school in the Big Ten seems to be all for it except for two, USC and the University of Michigan. And Dan had a column on it yesterday. I told him, I said, you pointed out one thing that I haven't seen anybody else point out about this, and it's that every school that voted for it currently has a president, and the two that didn't don't have a full-time university president, so the regents are involved.
Well, but that's a false argument because the University of Michigan president hasn't been in charge since Jim Harbaugh got there. The athletic directors run that school for the last 10 years.
Way to throw our esteemed guest under the bus. False argument. He made a good argument.
God, you can't even say anything about Michigan without getting attacked by him.
I know. Unbelievable.
But no, you're in ADs make this deal too. Yes.
The AD doesn't make this deal. Okay, so it's just so I don't get
Welcome in, by the way.
couple
Dan.
facts.
We'll just jump on you.
It's private capital technically, not private equity, but
Okay.
it is the
Fair-
same
fair
thing because
enough.
they can
Same
sell
difference. Yeah.
in 15 years. No, so they were going to they're going to create a company called Big Ten Enterprises that would own all of the media
Sounds
rights.
like the mob.
Yeah, well, keep going. It would own all the media rights and sponsorship rights for the entire conference, which is basically the value of the conference. A conference doesn't do anything other than negotiate television and sponsorship deals.
Tickets and everything in-house, but that's minuscule.
Yeah, for minuscule stuff.
And
for their,
some discipline, but...
some discipline, whatever. But the value of a conference is purely financial. So they're going to create a thing, and this pension fund out of California was going to own 10% of that company, Big Ten Enterprises. Everybody else, including the conference office, would split the remaining, would carve it up into 19 other slices. They would take $2.4 billion and give them to the schools. There would be a tier system. Schools like Ohio State and Michigan, Penn State would get something closer to $190 million. A Michigan State would be in the middle at about 140 or 50, and then some of the
Sorry, Rutgers.
Rutgers or so on would get like 110. Those are kind of the rumored things. There was never a vote, but 16 schools supported it. And I think what Marc's saying is that when you are the AD at a school, which you tend to have the job for like 3 or 4 years, or president for 3 or 4 years, you're like, yeah, give me the money. I don't care if I just sold out my long-term future.
Right. It's like being a mayor. You
right.
issue bonds.
Take the money. I don't kick the can down the road. At USC and Michigan, the trustees had a lot more juice. They have that juice at Michigan State. They just didn't. I don't know what the Michigan State trustees were doing, but they were sitting there saying, yeah, we'll take the short-term money. The Michigan AD, the regents they are, not trustees. I was reminded that last night. God knows you can't call them a trustee. It's I don't.
None of them are very trusty, but they are.
Well,
regents.
they're regal. They are regal or something. I don't know where regent comes from, but they are regents at Michigan, and they got to be fancy. And they're like, this is a terrible deal. Why would we do this? This doesn't solve the problem of deficits. These schools are all running deficits because they have way too nice facilities. Mm-hmm. Okay, these locker rooms and practice facilities, and not just in football where you could make some kind of economic argument, but even the Olympic sports, if you will, they have too much staff. They have too many coaches. They pay the coaches too much.
Quality control instructors.
Instructors. The football's out of control, but they're paying. You can be an assistant field hockey coach making $100,000.
And the Quidditch coach,
a diving coach can make $100,000 at these schools. That's a lot of money. And it's like,
why does the market pay them that much?
I don't know. They don't. They did because these guys
they had to spend the money
because they keep spending the money.
Yeah,
because they do, but then they run deficits. So they're all broke, and now they have to pay the players $20 million.
So this is a bailout.
It's a bailout, and what I think Michigan and USC were saying quite accurately, and a lot of people outside the Big Ten are saying. We expanded. The Big Ten expanded in 2010, and they got Nebraska.
Nebraska. Okay, yeah.
Maryland and
Rutgers. Right, so that got them to 12. They said
first.
Penn State first. That was a long time ago. Then they got Nebraska. They said, well, we need a conference championship game. That's going to make us more money. That'll help our problem with money. Then 4 years later, they add Rutgers and Maryland. And everyone's like, that's not adding anything. But they say, well, we'll get these basic cable houses, and that'll solve our money problem. Then they add USC, UCLA, Oregon, and Washington. Now we have 18 teams, and that was going to solve all the problems.
And that they kind of had to, because if they didn't add them, they would have gone elsewhere. Is that kind of the feeling?
Well, I think they wanted to try and offset the
Texas, Oklahoma move?
SEC, because the Big 12 was growing, SEC was this is
but they still are needing more money, and now they're saying, well, we got to sell off 10%. You go, well, how many times do we got to do this until we start taking a real look?
Well,
they don't have a revenue problem.
Does Indiana say we want to renegotiate now that we're all of a sudden a big value conference?
Yeah, well,
They kind of bought low, and now they may be. So with Dan's point about the regents, and I mean, having looked at the governing bodies of both of the major universities in Michigan, I have very little confidence in either of them. But one factor might be the regents set the budget. They approve the budget, whereas the athletic director is just like, give me more so I can do more, and they're not really worried, I think, about meeting that line item in the budget that says sports is this much. They're like, the problem with college sports is, and I know Marc and Shawn are excited that the quality is higher and that there's more competition and that the kids are being compensated, but the fundamental problem with college sports and why it's being ruined, even if the quality of play is going up, is that they are the classic goldfish that will grow as big as the bowl they're in, and that's why the coaches' salaries are going up, why the facilities are being built like this, because nobody has said, this is how much you have to spend. Stick to it. It is just more, and it's another reason why college sports is not serving colleges, because it's not teaching anybody what real life is like, and real life is like you set a budget and you live within your means or you suffer. Instead, these guys are selling plasma. Now they're selling the family jewels. Next it's going to be the Moss Handle family credenza. It's got to stop yesterday.
So it's all about the lesson. That's what you're talking about?
What, didn't you go to college for less? I know you went there to get some beans.
They run a business like a government. It should be a business. I mean, at some point you have to sit there and go, wait, we're running $100 million,
But is there a fear of losing your nonprofit status if you run it like a business? I mean, that's why
they're
have
running
to,
deficits. Like,
you don't need to run a deficit. But you need to
there are nonprofits that pay their
problems.
executives huge sums.
Sure. Yeah.
But they're like the government, right? They are the government, right?
They're supposed to be, kind of.
I mean, that's...
Well, they are a public body.
They're not there for a
the
profit.
definition of
I mean,
government.
look, wouldn't these schools love in some way privately to just spend money with the revenue sports?
Yes.
They wouldn't have the issue there.
And what's
I think that's why Alan Heller got the boot.
But like the
Lansing.
government, we're going to fund, community healthcare centers, which means we're going to fund field hockey and volleyball. Well, volleyball probably makes some money and some money.
I don't like that comparison because
maybe Nebraska.
I don't know.
Nobody makes any money but football and some men basketball programs. Even like South Carolina women's basketball doesn't make money. You at
What
some
about
point
Iowa
you can't
when
have all
Caitlin
these
Clark
teams.
was there?
I would say they probably turned an operating profit.
An anomaly, though.
That's outlier.
Yeah, you can. UConn's done it, but for the most part,
Hockey?
but they're paying the coaches too much, and if you get into this, it's not there. It's not there other than football and men's basketball, and you will have your one-offs occasionally.
You mentioned the changes,
very rare.
The changes that they made by adding Rutgers and Maryland, which was very short-sighted because they didn't see that everything would be streaming,
right?
And cable subscribers don't matter anymore. Do they view that as a mistake? Do they view?
Some people do, yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, the presidents of the other schools, are they like? Ugh.
I think there's a general belief that the expansion, like what have you gotten? You have an 18-team league now.
Yeah.
Okay, and that means you're playing not only in football where it matters. You're playing the teams that you're more. The beauty of the Big Ten is that it had a
geographic
culture.
footprint.
Yeah, your neighbor was from. So Indiana and Ohio State didn't play this year. They border each other.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Okay, like now they're going to play in the championship game, most likely. But like you have 18 teams, and then you have this. Like, okay, we have a soccer team. I was watching Big Ten the other day. Maryland soccer team is playing at UCLA on a Friday night. There's nobody at the game. It's on the Big Ten. No one's watching.
Just you.
Those kids had to leave school probably Thursday morning, fly all the way to LA to play a soccer game. And they could have got on a bus and gone and played George Mason or Villanova or whatever. Like if you're a Michigan soccer player, do you want to be there's no need to go all over the place. You could be playing the schools around here. Hockey, college hockey. The Big Ten college hockey programs used to play, they played Western and Ferris and all that.
They had Alaska, and then they had Nebraska, Omaha. But that's because Alaska's.
It's just hockey's kind of a weird one. But like you can play some more local teams, but instead everything has to be gold plated. I was looking at some of the things, and I looked at. I was looking through Maryland, which is unrelated to here, but like the women's soccer program in Maryland is 5 coaches. Okay, do you need 5 coaches?
Premier League teams.
Like they're probably spending $500,000 a year on the team, on the coaching staffs at a soccer program that no one knows is playing. You can make the argument that football spending is out of control, no question. However, it can lead to huge profits. All of them make huge profits. You can lead to when Jim Harbaugh started winning, Michigan's applications went through the roof.
Oh, and look at Alabama and Georgia.
Alabama's
Michigan,
the best example.
Yeah, Alabama's a great example, but Michigan has always been this elite, very prestigious school.
They've been turning away brilliant kids for a long time.
Right. But all of a sudden they went from 70, 80,000 applications to 115,000. What happened all of a sudden in 2021? They started winning.
Football.
So even a school like Michigan can benefit, let alone a school like Alabama where most people are like, I would never go to Alabama. Oh, this kind of looks cool. So you can justify football, but the other one. So they have misspent, misallocated, done all this stuff. In some fairness, they like the Detroit Lions do not support 20 other teams. The Detroit Lions aren't sitting there saying
they used to support everybody else in NFL. But
they do that, but they aren't sitting there saying we should support DCFC.
Yeah,
it's like you're on your own, right?
Well,
That's
is that the fear tactic that they're using, that if we don't have this private capital, that
we might have to cut these sports? Well, why don't you just make them club? Why don't you do we need them to have 5? Like, they need a real discussion about all spending in college athletics.
Yes.
And nobody, believe me, what I just said, like if I say that if I was an AD and I said, hey, we need to, why do we have 5 oh my goodness, you're fired.
Held to the roll.
So no one's allowed to have a discussion where you're like, well, do we really need to do this?
Look at what happened to Alan Haller. He invested in Olympic sports. He didn't get on the NIL train in time, and he was gone. And he had a successful basketball team, hockey team. We don't have to talk about football, but the tennis team's better than it's ever been before. The women's soccer and volleyball and men's soccer were playing for championships. He was, by all measures, a hugely successful AD, and he was gone without a second
because
thought.
nobody really cares about any of those teams. Basketball and hockey, they do.
Yeah.
In this state, basketball for sure, hockey slightly. I like it, but slightly. And then the other ones, nobody cares. Well, nobody's applying to Michigan State because they have a good
and there aren't even smart reforms. Like I was at a UCLA Michigan State soccer game on a Wednesday. Why can't you have a regional conference within the Big Ten for the Olympic sports?
Or divisions or something.
LA kids are freezing their ass off.
Right.
It was cold, so it wasn't fair to the UCLA players. And the other thing is, and this is why you should go to some of these other sports. After the game, all the players just walked past us, and they just wandered away.
Yeah.
The Michigan State guys walked to their dorms. There was no bus. There was no
they have a
fan
facility.
group.
They got nice locker rooms. And
really
stuff.
students. Well, I think the locker rooms, you had to walk behind the garage where the concessions are, and they have the locker room there. But it actually felt like these were students at Michigan State who played a sport. I don't want to get away from that. I want to encourage that to happen.
But they could do that as a club level.
Yeah.
And that team visiting could have been Detroit Mercy.
You could argue that.
Well, so let's get back to the regional thing. This is insane that and who doesn't want to see an Indiana-Ohio State matchup now? It could be the 1 and 2 teams in the country. I think they are, right?
Right.
So, but college. The problem is college sports, and I think Dan nailed it. Is they're not thinking about stuff. They're not trying to solve the problem. They think the problem is more money. And while private capital is a little bit different than private equity, Shawn and I both work for a news organization that's mainly owned by private equity. I think what we've seen in America is when private equity owns you, it's time to start packing your bags because they're going to suck all the juice out of it and just leave the husk.
You could make an argument that everything should be club, and I know that's pretty radical. But you were talking about applications earlier. Football drives up applications, but what does that really do? What you're really saying, and this is true at Alabama. I've seen, I think, more than it because of Nick Saban's rule. What it really did was switch the percentage. It radically changed the percentage of in-state to out-state. That's where the money is because they can double up on tuition. Right. What good does that do for the citizens of Alabama? What good does it do to have this school here at Michigan? And it's so hard for all these worthy kids who are from Marquette to Detroit to Bar Harbor. Sorry, that's Maine. Whatever the harbor is over there.
We have Benton Harbor.
And we have
Harbor Springs.
Are we feeling bad for the kids of Bay Harbor? How will they survive?
But what are we really doing? What are we really doing with our college, with our education system? I mean, you're talking about lessons.
Well, we're ruining it because you guys just want to have the best football team you can have.
No, I'm saying let's not have
admissions. Don't let in.
Don't exploit the players. Right. That's what we were saying.
Sure.
No, but I think what Shawn's saying is that the University of Texas and the University of North Carolina, they let it's almost 90% in state.
Yeah.
And 10% out of state. Now you can make the argument. Look at bringing all these kids from New York and California and Chicago into the state of Michigan. Maybe they stick around and open businesses and do that. They don't. They all bail.
No,
until you get Detroit looking like Chicago, it ain't going to happen. Now, because that's Alabama's argument. Well, some of these people will stick around. They're not sticking around.
They're going there to play dress up for cocktail parties.
Right, and then they're going home. They're going home, and that's it. So, but that's the theory.
Maybe hang out with
Nick
Fuentes.
Should half the students be from outside the state if it's the state school? That's a whole different argument. But
that's how they're raising money. That's how they're justifying this, right?
Well, the reason I asked about if they thought Maryland and Rutgers was, did they regret that deal is because it was short-sighted, and this seems incredibly short-sighted because it's a 21-year deal, and look at how much the sport and athletics in general in college have changed. Like, why is that so hard to understand? Is it just we just want the money now?
They want the money now. Well, you're an AD, and you're sitting there saying, if I get this money, I can pay more for an offense coordinator. I just fired my coach. He's going to cost this much. Illinois
got a
spent
big NCAA fine.
Ohio State spent over $30 million last year on construction debt from building facilities and upkeeping. And in some fairness to the schools, if you own something like Michigan Stadium or Spartan Stadium or Ohio Stadium, these are 100-year-old, massive.
Yes.
There's going to be a lot of upkeep. Okay, this is not like a new construct. Yeah. Lord knows what the plumbing's looking like in some of these places.
And you use it 6 times a year.
Or you could do. Yesterday on the way to the airport in Philadelphia, I drove by Franklin. Is it Franklin Stadium?
Franklin Field. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oldest. It was. I thought. Oh, there it is. It's built in 18. I looked it up. 1895. Oldest continuing operating football stadium. The Penn Relays are held there.
Who plays there?
Penn.
Oh,
the Eagles used to play there in the 70s, the late 60s.
The pros just
70s.
get the government to give them $1 billion to build a new stadium,
right.
and they suck all the money.
But
That's
at
a whole
that
other
level
topic,
with Penn, they're not worried about suites all over the place. I mean, they're just trying to maintain and make sure the bricks don't crumble.
But when you're spending that much money on, you're saying, okay, $30 million a year I'm spending on upkeep, and we had to remodel the locker room again. Oh, and we have to remodel the offices, and I need to hire a 5th baseball coach, even though somehow we played baseball when we only had 2, but now we need 5, right? And all the different stuff, and I got to send my volleyball team to LA. Well, that's not cheap, and all the things, and you sit there and go, wait, you're going to give me $160 million infusion, and is this going to be in 15 years, this is going to be a really bad deal? I don't care.
Yeah, no, and that's the problem is this is a Band-Aid. You pick up all this money now. Over the next 21 years, I'm pretty sure with this profligate spending, they're going to need massive cash infusions multiple times before that 21-year deal is up. And where are they going to get it? That's when your stadium's going to be named the evil son of a bitch stadium,
right?
And every kid's going to be the well, I guess we already have names for some of the coaches, the shitbag family.
Donald R. Shepard, director of athletics.
Yeah, I found out Michigan State has that too. It's just
almost all of them.
Nobody wants to be associated with our head coaches, so they're like,
well, it's funny.
I'll give
they
you money
only
to take my
announce
name
it
off
when
of
they
it.
fire them. It's like the John and Barbara Callahan head coaching position was fired today because they were on a Zoom with the sexual assault. You're like, hey man, I didn't pay for that.
We had Mel Tucker, the Kimberly Clark AT&T head coach at Michigan State,
sponsored by Jerkmate.
Kimberly Clark, of course, the makers of Puffs with Lotion. Yeah.
Oh my God,
that's where you're headed. There's a funny book, and I can't remember the name. I think it's called Big Time. It's a novel about modern college athletics, and they changed the name of the school to Coors State, and the team's the Silver Bullets. It's very, very funny.
Know.
But we already
NIL,
already
the
have
whole
these
school.
Corporations naming the stadiums or naming the field. But
there's going to be a GM logo on that Michigan Stadium field at some point.
Yeah, but
I mean, it's a matter of time before that Wolverine in the middle.
A very small G,
The
but
fact-
a large M. But we need to stop the madness. That's the problem.
Well, this
we
is
need
why
to stop the madness.
This is not my money. It is not my capital equity. I don't really the games will go on. I don't care whether Michigan's budget is. I have no dog in the hunt. But just observing it from a side, I 100% what the Michigan regents did to me was very, very smart, and said, hit the brakes. Let's find out more about this until we solve our spending problem. I think it was Marc Bernstein called it a payday loan.
Yep.
And that's basically, it's like opening one credit card to pay off the other credit card.
It's J.D. Wentworth.
And so, and then I sit there and say, well, what are the Michigan State guys doing? Why, this is a bad deal.
Well, so as it stands now, this UC investments, they're basically like, okay, we're going to table this.
Yeah, they're
California
hoping.
teachers, right?
How much of that, how much are they tabling it? Because Jordan Acker, the Michigan regent, kind of threw a bomb out there where it's like, hey, if this goes through without us, if Tony Petitti, who hates Michigan, clearly we all know how much Petitti
he hates Michigan State more.
That was the NCAA, but Petitti really laid the hammer.
Look at some of the
Michigan
fines
went strong. Acker went very, very strong.
And he said Michigan could leave the Big Ten and become independent. Was that kind of the bomb? We're like, well, this is one of the two big brands.
I think it was dead before that, okay. But that might have been the straw. But that was very real. What they were saying for a while was, okay, we're just going to do the deal without Michigan and USC. And Michigan, particularly Michigan, USC's been here for 5 minutes. Yeah. Michigan's like, what, you're going to make a deal without? How does that work? And if you're going to play hardball with us, I think whether you love Michigan or loathe Michigan, I think we got both in here.
Don't look at me.
They have a certain level of arrogance about them that they're not going to get bullied.
And
that is not the way to handle the University of Michigan.
I'll piggyback that by saying,
take our deal, and they'll go, wait, we got $20 billion. We'll go do our own thing. We'll go like Notre Dame, or maybe we call Ohio State and Penn State and say, hey, why don't we create our own little thing and cut all of like. You are rattling the wrong, like that is a dicey, I don't think any of that would have happened. I think the percentage of that working, but you don't want to plant that. It's like when you see, two couples are arguing, they go ahead, date someone else. Maybe you'll find someone better. That didn't work out so well.
The Big Ten
depends who you date.
They need Michigan more than Michigan needs them.
Wow, that's a very Michigan statement.
I would say Michigan has significant options without the Big Ten.
Yeah.
And so they could make more money as an independent.
They're better together.
And certainly the most valuable property in all other than the NCAA basketball tournament in all college athletics is the Ohio State-Michigan game. It usually outrates the national title game in football. It'll do, if they're both good, it's going to do 25,
played
30
at noon.
million. Played at noon on a Saturday. It's worth probably, as a standalone property, maybe $200 million, okay? So if Michigan and Ohio State just played that game and split $100 million.
Right where they are now.
Right, they're getting $86 million for everything from the Big Ten. So they would make more money just play, let alone all their other games, their basketball, everything else. So when you sit there and say, whoa, you got to bail out everybody else, I think Michigan and Ohio State and Penn State, yes, they could do that. I think there's a great feeling of we want to help all the schools. We like being in the Big Ten. These are like, we don't hate all these other schools. This isn't like Wall Street. Like there is some level of like, we've been in this league since 1896 or whatever it was. But when you start making it about cutthroat business, someone goes, hey, I'm going to make you $50, $75, $100 million more a year. And all of a sudden you don't care at all about your budgets.
Now, if I had a wish or a dream, it would be for the original 10 just to break away from the Big Ten and call themselves the original 10, right?
I think that's part of, you've lost that commonality.
Yeah.
Right?
It would bring it back. It
right.
probably make
Michigan
those
understands,
stronger.
I believe, the value of Michigan State being in the league and that game and all the different stuff that it brings, and Indiana and Purdue and playing each other. And, my neighbor went to Indiana, right? He's all excited right now.
Oh, what a jerk.
You want that, but when you go to 18 teams,
you lose it.
You lose it.
Yep.
At some point, you lose that. What the NFL does not have the rivalries that college does, but they make sure in your division you play twice.
Yep.
Right? And you make sure that you play. The Bears are coming every year. Packers are coming every year. Vikings, and you play, and so you have some commonality with your division. The NFC
and it's regional.
It's regional.
Yep.
The NFC has 16 teams. The Big Ten has 18. And you don't play, and you only get one team that you play, two teams you play every year. So
Did you ever see a scenario where they would contract, where leagues would contract? I mean,
not yet.
There's always talk about
it happen.
Well, see, that's another reason why you wouldn't want a 21-year deal.
You have to get it in. They got to get costs under control.
Yeah.
Or else you're pushing them because the only other option, when Ohio State can't make it work, and they're not going to look at like Ohio State, I think has 34 teams, okay? So that's their decision. But if a school as big and as powerful as Ohio State cannot make the budget work, at some point they either have to start charging each student $400 or $500 a semester.
Some schools do.
Right.
Some do that.
Or, right, a lot of schools do that. Mm-hmm. Or they have to sit there and say, yeah, you know what? We like you guys, Minnesota, but what exactly are you bringing to the table here?
Do you ever see a super league happening with, breakaways from the SEC and the Big Ten?
I don't necessarily, because the schools at the top have to win a bunch of games. Mm-hmm. They need weak teams to beat. Right?
Okay.
So
which is why they play Charlotte and
yes.
University of
the NFL. Someone
Louisiana,
goes, what's Tennessee going to go 1-15 or what? Like whatever. The Lions would go 0-16, but everyone would go, well, yeah, but we get Matthew Stafford. Right, but in college football, you don't get the best player, you get the worst. Sure. So you can't, like, these schools flip out if they start. Penn State lost 3 straight games and they fired. Like, they just you're done. Yeah. You're out. The guy was in the Final Four last year. You're gone. Yeah. So you start losing. They're so important. So I don't think they can have a schedule where they're playing like matchups every week where
Yeah.
you're going to lose. You can be a good team.
So my dream of promotion and relegation in college football is never going to happen.
But like the
It is
Lions are
happening.
6-4. Like if Michigan's 6-4, it's a
Oh
disaster
my God!
of a
Yes,
season.
hell,
right?
9-2 is going to be a disaster.
Yeah, right.
It should be 6.
They're not happy because they're not winning by enough.
How many games did State
be
win the
6.
last 3 years? 4 years?
Well,
Do you want to move to that topic?
we didn't have Connor Stallions, so that hurt.
No, you guys just
He's
used.
available. You can hire him.
You used illegal players.
Didn't he have a show cause?
He does. Yeah.
You just got to make the case.
Yeah. No, we do have relegation now. If you don't raise enough money, you're not going to win. You're going to be a tier 2 team. Whether they call it the Championship League and the Premier League, it doesn't matter.
Isn't that life though?
Oh, now it's life. Okay.
Why are you tier 2? Is Indiana a tier 2 team? Is Ole Miss,
any-
Vanderbilt?
That's the thing. They could turn around
Michigan State-
in a year if they make the right hire. Just like you could turn around your budget if you manage it correctly.
I don't like the woe is me Michigan State thing. I think Michigan State is a great program, a great school.
I'm not
has so
saying
many
woe is me. I'm saying that.
No, your
that-
tone is.
No. What I'm saying is if you can't bring that money in, you're going to be relegated.
Not necessarily. They have the money. They have $20 million to spend.
They have so many billionaires that went to that school.
So
okay.
Rutgers and Maryland really have a shot at a Big Ten championship
not?
in their lifetime.
Why not?
Indiana does.
Rutgers got
Indiana's undefeated.
good. Yeah. Vanderbilt.
Get the right
it's
guy.
the coach. It's the
coach. Listen,
More so than any
let me
other
give you.
sport,
You want to happen to
college football.
Jonathan Smith? You want to know how Michigan State screwed up this year? Trinidad Chambliss is going to be a Heisman finalist for the Ole Miss Rebels. They're 10-1. They're going to the playoff. Kid's from Grand Rapids playing at Ferris State, and he didn't get recruited by anyone in the Big Ten. He was going to go to Temple as a transfer, and then Ole Miss grabbed him. How in the hell are you running a program in the state, let alone in the Big Ten, and don't know that Ferris State is good? They're good. They keep winning the national title. Why was Michigan State not getting Trinidad Chambliss? They blew that. They have a quarterback. They're not winless. They have Trinidad Chambliss. They are not winless in the Big Ten right now. Some of that he didn't cost a gazillion dollars. No, Ole Miss was smart. They got him. Nobody else did.
I will defend Elric to a point. Yeah, money matters. I mean, Michigan would not have Bryce Underwood if they didn't have the money to pay him.
I'd rather have Trinidad Chambliss.
Yeah.
But yes, Michigan's
But
money
you do
money
need
helps.
But
money
but
helps.
they have money. They
But there's
can get
tons
money.
of players you could get. There's a kid that's sitting there, and somehow nobody noticed him. Michigan should have grabbed him. Everyone should have grabbed him.
Well, Kirk Cousin was a kid that nobody noticed.
Nobody
when we
noticed.
grabbed him.
So
and
how-
this Alessio's not bad either. Michigan State's problem is the defense more than the offense.
But to Mark's point, Indiana spent more on football this year than Michigan
yeah.
State.
So let me just
They did. Like $5 million
Let me
more.
retract my argument. I never would have seen Indiana competing for a Big Ten
But they
championship.
spent the money.
and they're competing for national. Well, no, it's not that they spent the money. It's that they found the coach who
No,
could
for
find
sure.
the players.
But now they're spending
and
the
then
money.
they
They're
had the money.
outspending Michigan State.
But well, that's fine.
But they also are picking better players.
They are.
But I don't think Jonathan Smith is a terrible coach. I just don't think he's going to survive in this environment where
You got to
get out.
You got to land you got to be really good. And I'm not saying that Jonathan Smith can't find that kid or whatever, but there's an example of a kid that is literally standing in Big Rapids winning the national championship, waving his arms, being like, "Hey, over here." And I don't know.
Well,
I don't know what happened.
Here's why Jonathan Smith missed him, because he just got here. He brought all his guys from Oregon State who hasn't done that much. But I'd be more critical of the coaches in the Midwest. I'd be more critical of Michigan and Ohio State and Indiana and Northwestern, who didn't identify this guy because they actually have been recruiting in the Midwest for years. But the point is, when you find talent like D'Antonio did and you coach it up, you can win.
Absolutely.
I mean, if D'Antonio had gotten rid of some of his coaches and had been so damn stubborn, he might still be coaching.
He had to make that shift to the 5 stars.
Yeah, that was
Well,
the
he
beginning
did,
of
and
the
it was
end for him.
disastrous. But
Yeah, he was better with this.
that's
But know your guys.
that's a whole nother story.
Last year's Indiana team didn't have anybody. They were all transfers from James Madison and Old Dominion and stuff. There's ways to do it. It's not hopeless. I just think
Washington
State,
turned it around with Penix, so-
Michigan State's a powerful place. It's got tons of money and support, and they want to win. And there's billionaires if you need that. And
What you do.
Well, I'm not here to defend Michigan State. I don't know how this became a Michigan State versus
I'm
the
defending
world
them.
thing.
I'm defending
No,
them.
no. What I'm saying is, on the broader scale, I think all of college sports is being destroyed because they're just chasing the money.
What do you mean by it's being destroyed? Like why?
They are taking money from the universities that should be going to the universities. Michigan State is cutting
They're
back.
not though. What do you mean they're
Where
taking?
did Ohio State? Where did the $30 million they needed to come from?
They run a deficit, or they have the money.
The athletic department runs.
But that's what they're spending on. They're spending that $30 million on. That's why they're sitting there saying, "Let's sell out. Let's go to private capital."
Well, that's the right term. Let's sell out for more money. That's not the lesson I want people to learn in college.
They're not taking. Well,
I agree with you on
this
that.
is a very hard issue to have one solution. Okay, so like there's a lot of issues all at work, but I think
We need some governance. That's the biggest problem. It's
Oh, yeah, 'cause
anarchy out
that
there.
fixes things.
I think you just need people to be honest about what are we trying to do here.
Yeah.
And
Well, that's the
If
most
you run it,
unrealistic
really
thing
need
I've
me-
ever heard.
right. But they're not doing that
Good
at
luck.
all.
What's your second
This
choice?
discussion could not exist in a public forum on a college, because it would be like there's no you can talk, when I talk to athletic directors on the side, they all say the same thing. We got to get rid of some of these teams. We got to cut back on this. We got too much staff. This is crazy, but they can't say it because they'll lose their job because someone will go, "You don't care about the swimmers. They work just as hard as the football team." That's not the argument.
Well, it sucks too. I mean, nobody wants to get rid of those teams, but you are running this business.
But nobody wants to charge a regular student $1,000 extra. Your tuition just goes up.
If a kid who's good at rowing or tennis or track and field
They probably
can't
don't need
get
a
a free
scholarship.
college education,
Probably don't need a
then
scholarship.
that's a problem. They probably do.
Pick
How many
like-
of those track kids you think come from inner cities?
Track's different, but you said rowing and tennis.
But
most
whatever.
most
What I'm
Olympic
saying-
sport
tennis and
athletes
golf,
come
probably
from
not a big deal.
upper middle class families.
Which
You can't-
here's
Dan-
one way
hear
it's
what Dan
gotten
just
better.
said?
Here's one way, and to Dan's point, this has gotten a lot
I did
better.
hear what he said.
It was
but
completely.
Sean's talking now.
No, seriously. Before NIL, before they were getting, and now starting to get directly paid, student football players, basically, and some basketball players, they were subsidizing. Think about what part of America was subsidizing another part of America. The poor
Every
areas
part of America.
were
the football players were subsidizing the wealthy.
Yeah, but we
exactly,
we
and it was outrageous.
But we
golfers-
subsidize.
You realize how unfair that and
You want
ridiculous
Mateen
that
Cleaves
was?
paying for the golf program?
That's exactly
Like,
what was
that's
happening.
going on.
I want to answer Sean's question.
Exactly what was happening.
I want to answer
And it was
Sean's question
ridiculous.
because I don't think he sees the hypocrisy in what he's saying. We subsidize public transportation. We subsidize health care.
as a
we
collective
subsidize food
commonwealth,
stamps.
Exactly.
as a government, not
Yeah, that's top down.
The talents of the basketball team are funding the golf program. No one is playing college golf unless their parents belong to a country club.
Yeah, well, if you want to
It
make
just didn't happen.
golf a club sport, go ahead. But
Soccer,
but now you're
if you're
picking and
playing
choosing.
elite soccer, you're spending $20,000 a year on your kids starting in about the 5th grade.
Yeah.
All these sports, and then you go to some of these sports, crew, sailing, like, I mean, Stanford's totally ridiculous, but they have like squash, like
affluent kids
sorry,
affluent kids were getting scholarships.
how's the
on the
Hazel Park
backs
High
of
squash team?
Exactly.
Like, you don't have a chance.
Nobody pays attention to that, though.
But
They
again,
just see-
right? You
And
can't.
so they're not anymore because they're getting paid, right?
Right, they're getting paid, but it was never the job of the shouldn't have been the job of the. If the school doesn't want to do it, shouldn't have been the job of the football team to sponsor some of these other sports. Now it sounds like I hate all these other sports. I don't.
It sure
I just
You go to the Olympics every 2 years.
Right.
You love Olympics.
We
Right.
all love those sports.
But they don't. But there was that part was like ridiculous because it's like why does Michigan State have a golf team?
why?
I
The
don't know.
universities.
Why does Michigan have a golf team?
The universities do subsidize kids. We offer scholarships. We offer financial aid. We do try and
That's-
help people.
He's kind of missing a point. Isn't
You're
he?
going backwards, though. Yes, the Go Blue promise, where everyone under like some amount of money gets to go to Michigan for free. I don't think anyone's against that. Like, yes, that's what it should be. But when you're saying the kid that's a really good golfer because their dad belongs to Oakland Hills and they had a club in their hand for 2 years gets a scholarship, you go,
Yeah,
what
but
was that?
What's that scholarship?
point?
$10,000 a year, $12,000 a year. I mean, to me, I think you want to have a diverse campus with lots of people, lots of backgrounds, and even in the sports, I think you want to have all those sports because there are people who do participate in them, who enjoy them, who go see them. When I sat and froze my balls off at that UCLA Michigan State soccer game, I wasn't the only person there. I like that we have those sports,
Free the golfers.
and you know what I mean. You know, so
As I
You're
wear
so
a
used-
master,
I know,
I'm
you're
wearing a
used-
Masters thing and belong to a country club. So what do you want me to do?
That's right.
so
My people, I'm trashing.
So football makes a lot of money. Support some other sports. There's lots of endeavors
They
where.
have been.
Well, that's what I'm saying is I want to see us continue to do that, not just to say, well, screw all these
but
other
you can't
guys.
do it for all of them. You can't. I mean, you're losing money. Doing
Why?
we're
Because
saying-
you have to have $10 million coaches, because you have to have $50 million bots. Why don't you start taking some money off that side of the scale before you start cutting things that other students? This should be about students. These students want to play these sports at a varsity level. When are we going to make it
They'll
about
go there and pay
students?
their own way? Look at Division III. Division III now. There are all these schools that are staying open because of the teams that they offer. I don't want to say staying open because I don't know, because I'm going to use some examples, but and they may be fine. I don't know the finances, but like an Adrian College has
Adrian is a perfect
huge
example.
Athletics, because kids want to play
Exactly.
and they want to continue playing, so they go, hey, maybe I wouldn't look at this school otherwise, but now I do, and I pay to go here, and I'm on the soccer team, I'm on the volleyball team. They have a lot of these schools have JV teams. There's a school in Ohio.
I think Adrian has 3 levels of hockey.
Yeah, right, because kids want to play. So that's fine. Sponsor all those teams, but those kids are paying to play. There's a school in Ohio, Defiance. This is a couple years ago. They had 1,100 students. 1,000 were athletes. 1,000 of their 1,100. It's
And the other
all
1,000
athletes.
played euchre.
And the other 100 just drank. Yeah.
Well, I mean, no, they have like euchre as a
Euchre,
team
they have
sport, or
video games.
badminton or
Video
darts.
games, right?
Would
That's
you-
all fine.
Would you go to that game too and
You don't
freeze your
think
balls off?
You don't think
I
a
would
kid
go to
would
that
pay
game
to
if one of
play
my
at
buddies
Michigan
was
State?
on that team.
Sorry, you're alleged balls.
Yes, my daughters participate in a theater program at Michigan State where they put their shows on in the basement of a dorm, and they were good shows. But
And
I
you
went
went to
there.
them?
I went to them because my kids were in them, and I know their friends went to them because their friends were participating in something the university sponsored that they enjoyed. I want to see more things like that because I want to see kids get out of their dorms, get out of their bedrooms, get out of their basements. If it's because they're going to watch their buddies play Quidditch or euchre or darts or play in
They
a
could do that
a
without
musical.
the scholarships and the 5 coaches.
I understand, but what we're talking about now is getting rid of stuff instead of getting control of this
not
monster.
spending
Then
on
bring
it.
your
Not
private
spending
capital
on
You
in
it.
can
it, yeah.
still have it at the club level.
You
That's
still
all we're
have
saying.
it. The kids at
That-
Adrian
that's-
go to their kids. They go to that
It's
stuff.
not going away.
That's fine, but all we're doing is, so you don't want to give scholarship, make it all club. That's fine. We got a club lacrosse team at Michigan State. I can live with that, as well as club hockey and club basketball. and
This
all
will
other
not
shit.
solve the problem.
But you've got to rein in the money. The money is what's
is the
ruining
money.
this place.
This is
is
what
the
we're
money.
talking about.
This is part of that discussion.
Yeah.
No, they spend more money on a buyout than they spend on all the Olympic
They
sports.
spend a lot on Olympic sports too.
How do we redo the studio and not have a cough button, for Christ's sake?
Take a sip of water. Why
He's
don't you?
fired up.
I know he's fired up.
Free the golf team.
And Dan needs to go, but thank
Piss
you.
on the golf team and the tennis team, too. I'm just saying, you
Well,
guys
why
just
do you
want to
get to
feed the
choose?
beast.
Why do you get to choose which
He's all
sports
over
are
it.
okay?
Because somebody's got to be man enough to
crazy.
make a decision here.
No wonder Shawn stays in these sketch neighborhoods when he gets out of here. He needs.
Oh man, the geeks have inherited the earth.
Did I do that?
What a dork.
Does him wanting to play with us again mean that he's turning into a geek, or we're turning into cool guys?
Sean's in a rush, so we got a quick geek of the week. But first, I want to tell you, in case you didn't notice, football season is here. If your plan for retirement is to hit an 8-leg parlay, maybe you should call or text Luke Nowacki at 248-663-4748 before that fails, or maybe even before you place that long shot. The key to long-term investing is to have less anxiety in the markets than Maz has in the Sparty concourse, or for that matter, than Jonathan Smith has on the sidelines or the post-game press conference, or when the NCAA calls, or when the AD calls him and says, hey, by the way, we forgot to tell you some of you guys aren't eligible and we're going to have to cut back on scholarships and travel and all this other stuff. Anyways, you can call Luke Nowacki for some good news at 248-663-4748, because when you call Luke, he'll make it all about you, sweetheart.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through
Mosaic Wealth.
Sync member FINRA-SIPC.
Mosaic Wealth.
Sync is separately owned, and other entities and or marketing names, products, or services referenced here are independent.
Mosaic Wealth.
Inc.
As much as I respect Dan, and I don't want to take him out of context,
but
anybody who thinks more money is a solution to solving college sports is my geek of forever, or for 21 years.
that's
if
it.
private capital funds
I
it.
don't think that's what he was saying, but anyway.
He was actually saying the opposite.
Yeah, but that's okay. It's nice that you were listening.
What are you doing? You're on your phone.
That's why I left,
It's no.
because he knew that I finally figured him out.
Yeah,
I cut through it.
It's a bummer that he's gone, because I thought he made another really good point about a topic that I haven't seen anybody else make, and that's regarding what the NCAA did to Michigan State in the vacating
I
wins.
love Sean's column on that, actually.
In the penalties. But what Dan pointed out, which I thought was interesting, is that, and you might have pointed it out too, I just saw it from Dan first, but the fact that Michigan State didn't fight it and didn't really want to fight it because they still have this $75 million bill and lawsuit they're trying to get out of with Mel Tucker.
That's easy.
Well, this helps it though, right? If you don't fight it and you take the penalty, it's like, well, this is another firing for cause or another.
No,
reason.
they tried to push back on vacating the wins.
They are
that part they did, but
they didn't want that.
But they also were happy to take the penalty because it kind of helps lawsuit.
I'm not sure happy is the adjective you're looking for there, but
it was some smart thinking on their part because they have more cause for Tucker, which should help with the negotiations of. They owe him $75 million, right? So
they don't owe him shit.
No,
they should be suing for a rebate.
But they're negotiating that, so maybe that helps. But yeah, no, I don't. We don't need to get back and relitigate all that, but. The larger picture.
Yeah, Mark.
A bunch of cheaters.
The larger picture was.
Well, I guess we are going to. Go ahead, Sean.
According to we should have talked
Mark,
about
be
this
quiet.
when
Sean's
Dan,
talking
we should have talked about this when Dan was still here. From the perspective of, obviously here in this state, Michigan State fan base, but also just college football fans across the country, what Michigan did and the perception of what they did and how they got the fact that they didn't have to vacate any of that when the NCAA came out and said we have enough for a postseason bowl ban.
That's bluster.
No, it wasn't. They did
bluster
right?
on their port
when they had that, and then here's Michigan State, and they're vacating their wins, and one of the ones they're vacating, Connor Stallions is on the opposite
One team
sideline.
used illegal players.
You know what I mean? So that's they can do that they can vacate wins. In fact, they said they could. They can vacate wins for other. They could have done that. Michigan probably would have sued. NCAA may well have lost, but that's all it would have taken.
It shows how minor that.
That's all it would have taken.
Connor Stallions cheating was.
Here's why people don't like Michigan fans. Instead of saying, whew, we got away with it, they're like, that's justice, baby.
Of course.
The other guys who do something wrong should all be hammered to like dog
There's a
shit
reason
into
they
the
did
ground.
it. There's a reason they did it. There's a reason the NCAA called it a KGB-style operation.
One guy.
Right? No, that's not true. Other people knew, clearly, right?
Who?
Mike Hart was talking about, he was having conversations with somebody at Rutgers, I want to say.
Yeah, they were really good at getting signals.
And they were talking about, this is to a completely different level what they were doing. Yeah. There's no
it was. Connor Stallions is
unprecedented,
went
different level, no consequences.
KGB style.
No consequences.
And that's what people
see how
have
big
an
that
issue with.
fine was?
Yeah, and you'll call
10%?
Larry Ellison, who'll stroke a check, or you'll change your mind on this private capital.
Who paid for Tucker's contract?
That's true.
Actually, turns out not as much as we thought.
Don't try to justify.
That's what I think you may have remembered.
I'm not trying to justify it.
We did an episode that said, actually, who did pay for Tucker's contract? Turns out it was us.
You don't think it's that big because you don't want to feel like your championship wasn't
No, because
earned.
stealing signs is legal and people think it's not. It's how he did it.
Exactly. The way he stole signs is
one
legal.
guy.
I thought a minute ago we
hero.
said I thought
Total
I had
hero.
a short geek of the week.
All right,
I guess
fine.
I was wrong. But here's the important thing: you can't
That
say
I
the
control the
NCAA.
mic?
Hey again.
There's an all-night party in room 7609. And you can dance together all night if you've got the time.
Sean, even though I killed the mic, I know he's going to finish what he wanted to say now.
No, he doesn't need to because I'll give him something else. Mike will love this.
I was going to say that Dave Portnoy's a steaming pile of shit, except if I stepped in shit, I'd clean my shoes. If I stepped in Dave Portnoy, I'd throw the shoes out and probably have my feet bleached.
Did you take that whole
next.
break to think about that? No, I just
I've
thought
been
this
thinking
would,
about that since Saturday.
I just thought this would cheer you up. I saw
Do you have
this.
to go?
No.
Oh, okay, just checking.
That's good.
Sorry.
That's good.
Dan knew when to get out when the get was good.
Couple of neighbors in
Take
England.
it on the heel and toe.
Couple of neighbors in England. One's drinking way too much vodka and taking their empty vodka bottles and putting in the recycling bin of their neighbor. And so the neighbor posted a sign in the recycling bin. It said, "Quit putting your vodka bottles in my recycling bin, you minging twat."
Ooh.
So I thought you would appreciate that.
Like minge?
Well, that's another bad call, but that's good. I'm glad. I'm glad that we're not dragging this out with irrelevant stories about our former lords and masters. who we overthrew 250.
I just thought you would like that's how they talk to each other. If you have a recycling issue, a garbage issue.
I think anybody who listens to this shows know I want everybody to be treated with respect and courtesy.
Really? Okay.
And to buy Solar Detroit merch. This week's suggestion for Room 769 comes from our old pal, Mr. Magoo.
All right.
It says, recently you mentioned how Eric and Marc were fascinated by serial killers and your interest in how they are caught, which reminded me of the song Wheat Kings by the Tragically Hit. I know you like the story behind the story, and this one is as bizarre as it gets, so here goes.
Uh-oh.
Back in the winter of 1969, the body of 20-year-old nursing student Gail Miller was found dumped in a Manitoba snowbank. She had been raped and stabbed to death. Investigators zeroed in on a nearby house where 16-year-old David Milgaard and some friends had been staying during a cross-country trip. David was charged with the crime. As I'm sure you know, Canada is a much smaller town as it is a country. The savagery of the murder horrified the nation, and the ensuing trial captivated it. David was convicted and sentenced to life in prison. But from the onset, there were whispers that perhaps a grave injustice had been committed. The case, which had no hard evidence linking David, was based on sketchy testimony by sketchy drug addicts he once called friends. I know what that's like. David's mother continued to fight on his behalf for a retrial. Fast forward to 1993. It take a while to get to 2025. Late-breaking story on the CBC. A nation whispered, we always knew that he'd go free. After a 23-year wait, the Canadian Supreme Court finally granted a retrial. But in a surprising turn of events, the Saskatchewan government instead chose to waive the retrial and set David free. But it wasn't until 5 years later that he was truly exonerated through the advent of DNA forensics. Attaches a picture of David and his mother after the announcement. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. Well, that one was worth $10 million, equal to the sum awarded to him in an attempt to somehow compensate for the decades lost and the stereotypical gross indignities that as a teenage boy he was forced to endure while in Canadian penal system. Oh, dear.
Wow, the worst part is that I assume they don't know who killed this girl, right? So they don't have closure. Or do they? Is there a twist?
You know, Mr. Magoo may not see so well, but he writes pretty good.
Awesome.
David went on to become an advocate for the wrongly convicted. As for the real serial killer, Marc, well, DNA solved that mystery too.
Oh, no shit.
Larry Fisher, a married man who had also stayed in that same Manitoba house as David and his friends, was a match. He was convicted of the crime and sentenced to life in prison and died there in 2015.
Good.
Now for the bizarre part of the story. And I thought we already had that. Fisher, like David, had also served 23 years for other convictions, partly overlapping David's time in prison. The crimes happening before and after Gail's murder saw Fisher convicted of being a serial rapist for having assaulted 7 women around the country at knife point. You can't make this stuff up. A special counsel was then convened to address the obvious failings of the Canadian justice system. Failings that included those sketchy witnesses having been coerced into changing their story under threat of prosecution if they didn't go along with the preferred narrative. Wheat Kings opens with the cry of the loon, the Canadian national symbol. Same symbol of this show. Akin to the American eagle. Perhaps it was a cry for justice. Yours in ponderance, Magoo. P.S.
What's the name of that? Okay, sorry.
P.S. David managed to escape prison twice.
What?
Once for as long as 77 days. He was caught while selling encyclopedias in Toronto and was shot in the back by police while attempting to flee. He also survived multiple suicide attempts while incarcerated.
Wow.
Holy crap.
What's the name of the victim? I think it was in the first couple lines.
Gail.
I just want to read more about it. That's a good story, Magoo.
Gail Miller. So,
wow.
That is a good story.
Never heard of that.
I wonder if Larry
We
and
can skip
David
the
did
song
any time
now,
together.
right?
There's the loon.
Whoa. Hark, the loon.
There he is.
Hark, the loon. Hark. Tragically Hit, by the way, big hockey band.
There's the loon again.
You've got Shawn on camera. Not inaccurate. Except for the frenzied shrieking.
Sundown in
peace of the prairies, we kings of all treasures buried. And all you hear are the rusty breezes pushing around the weather vane Jesus. Zippo-lighter, he sees the killer's fate. Maybe it's someone standing in a killer's place. 20 years for nothing, well, there's nothing new besides. No one's interested in something you didn't do. We kings and pretty things, let's just see what the morning brings. There's a dream he dreams where the high school's dead and stark. It's a museum and we're all locked up in it after dark. The walls are lined all yellow, gray and sinister, hung with pictures of our parents' prime ministers. We kings and pretty things, wait and see what tomorrow brings. Late breaking story on the CBC. A nation whispers we always knew that he'd go free. They add you can't be fond of living in the past. If you are, then there's no way that you're gonna last. We kings and pretty things, let's just see what tomorrow brings.
So that was a great story from Mr. Magoo. It's going to be tough to top that one, but we love your stories, even if we don't always love the music, although Tragically Hip is good. They Canadian band, beloved by the hockey community. When the lead singer Gord was dying of cancer, it was kind of a long goodbye, but he was it was pretty moving to see how much that country and a particular sport connected with an artist, and it was great. But anyways, that's another long story. Send your suggestions, your stories, and your songs to mlsoulofdetroit@gmail.com because we would love to feature them.
Uh-oh, the cough's back? I mean, I could pot you down, but it's fun to hear you cough. Ew, gross.
Yes,
Are you okay? Maybe we should wrap.
Drink some water. Well, let me tell a quick story.
Oh, well, you're holding back on a story?
Speaking of
it's
tragedy,
not really a story.
You're compounding the tragedy.
Get your water and just, why don't you hush up over there for a second?
I prefer some hemlock right about now.
No, seriously. This is very, very quick. I was in Philly for the Philly Lions game.
Yeah.
Had not been there for work ever, which is just sort of randomly odd for me because I go all over the country. And had been there in like 35 years. I've been there once. Anyway, great walking city, great place to be. We all know about the reputation of the Philadelphia fans, especially the Eagles fans, on the way into the stadium.
Uh-oh.
On the way into the stadium. And, of course, it's night game. It's dark. but it's lit up with lights and the big fires and tailgating fires and coals and all this sort of stuff. There's a group of Lions fans, and I'm walking. There are a group of Lions fans at a tailgate. To my right and right ahead of me is a group of Eagles fans walking because I'm trying to get in the stadium. And there's a tall, blonde, as Mike would say. What would Mike say?
Lady?
Yeah.
Woman?
Very, very
person.
Attractive, young, whatever. And she sees these.
Whoa, don't put your creepiness off on me. I wouldn't say that. I'd say there's a human being that I'd like to know.
She sees these Lions fans. There's one guy in particular in a jersey, and she's like, "Fuck you." so right. So he yells back, "Fuck you." So then she turns around completely and spreads her legs, frames her nether regions with her hands, and said, "You would love to get in here. You've got no chance of getting in here. This is all you ever dream about."
Gross. Or
and he's
that's
like,
a great comeback though.
And he's like, "That's all you've got?" Like I really want to get in there, and then she kept walking. Yeah, you do. This is your dream.
That's a good comeback. He should have said, "No, turn around." I mean, but it was not a bad comeback by her. She's kind of gross.
It was just kind of that's the Eagles fans for you. And then they were close to the press box every time an Eagle dropped a pass or Hurts over their quarterback Jalen Hurts overthrew the ball. It was just they were merciless on. And their team won the Super Bowl.
I know.
And the way they were booing them at one point for punting. It was just anyway.
Well, they once booed Santa. They booed Santa,
they
right?
They did, but I had not seen it.
Didn't they also cheer when Michael Irvin's career ended when he got hurt?
They did a little bit, but I just hadn't seen that in a while where the gal turned around and framed her. Framed her. Yeah, that was something.
You okay over there?
You ready, Mike?
I tried to protect myself by paying no attention to what was just said, but
all right.
I just want to.
I liked it, Sean. I thought it was good.
That and then my hotel being right next to a pizza joint called Homo Hut. That was great.
What? Where? What was it next to?
A pizza joint. They call themselves the Homo Hut.
Did they have a discount on the sausage pizza?
That's a good question.
HOMO?
Yeah, it was on a sign right out front. It was fun.
Interesting.
Okay. Anyway, this is where we thank our donors. No donors this week. We really would appreciate it if you would become a soulmate. It's a great way to help the show. We are struggling as usual with sponsors, and the best chance for us to be a stable and returning entity is to have you sign up for as little as $5 a month. Become a soulmate. You get the bonus episode. You get all the great stuff we talked about at the top of the show. And it really helps us coming back week after week. The other way to help us is to buy some of our great merchandise. We have some new items on there. We switched from our kind of I don't know what you'd call it, kind of a weird blue to a navy for all of our gray, and now we have navy options. We've added a vest. We've added some cool T-shirts, a Ringer T-shirt with some of our cast likenesses on there. We've unfortunate caricature for me, but at the time...
you don't like your caricature?
I love it. I think it's awesome.
But because of the...
I didn't know that Mel Tucker was going to make more headlines. I'm like, damn it. I really wanted to try and put some distance there. You can own Sean's green jacket, a couple of cool ball caps there, and some other good stuff. So if you want to support the show. Also, Erica designed our Soul of Detroit logo, our script gear for women, and a lot of our clothes now come in a women's cut. These will ship in time for the holidays if you get your purchase in by December 1st. But we love the script logo gear that Erica came up so much. We have one now in green with white lettering and in navy with white lettering. It would have cost us extra to put maize on there. So if you want to cast your own vote on which university you think is the finest, despite what the NCAA seems to think about both of our institutions being pieces of shit, buy a green or a navy Soul Detroit script logo T-shirt. It will support the show, and you will look so cool that people will be like, damn, you look really cool.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll be at a loss for words.
Okay, then, yeah.
We have a little feedback now. We love to hear from you at mlsoulofdetroit@gmail.com. Our friend T-Bat says, today I feel more clever than clever, particularly after your disparaging of the delightful Dutch. The Dutch have a saying, you ain't Dutch, then you ain't much. Enough said. Keep having fun, fellas. Still love the show. Everybody takes a beating every now and then, as our Spartans know all too well.
Who disparaged the Dutch?
Sean said something about you Hollanders and you lowland dirtbags. And
I did?
Yeah. Shawn's mad because last time he was there, the coffee shop didn't have the hash he liked. And when he was in the red light district, he asked for change. And she said...
she's not working today?
She said... that
he's not working today?
She said, this purse doesn't contain coins.
Oh.
He left. That was back when he covered the Amsterdam Admirals in the WFL a long time ago. Alexis says, random. Whatever happened to that alleged narcotic trafficking female lawyer who was working for the City of Detroit's Office of the General Counsel even after being charged with heavy-duty felonies? It was an ML The Watchdog exclusive back in 2022 or 23, along with FOIA'd police body cam footage. Any update? Well, as a matter of fact, Alexis, she reached a plea deal and I believe is right now a ward of the state. Alexis really quickly also wrote, Hi, Marc. If you see this before you record Soul of Detroit today with ML, can you just tell him as a fan of both, it was really neat to see Charlie and ML do each other's shows last week. On that front, can ML elaborate on that ex-cons contractor's biography? He's from Texas. And he has lots of criminal history and was in prison. You may think she's talking about Shawn. She's talking about Brian McKinney of Guyanga. For what charges? Was that all expunged? Is he a college or even high school graduate? They both seem to gloss over the timeline of how this guy even landed in Detroit, and suddenly he's winning $70 million or whatever in city contracts, all of which he subcontracts out, so he's not actually doing any labor. He's just skimming the money. Oh, Detroit. Thank you, Alexis. So this message was sent to us a week or so ago, but I do want to say the answers to the questions you seek, Alexis, will be provided by Charlie on the No BS News Hour and Michigan Enjoyer, and by myself in the Detroit Free Press, and we will come together and share as much of that as we can here on the Soul of Detroit. You should subscribe to both of our news organizations. Please keep up with the podcast, but the answers are coming, some possibly as early as this week. So we appreciate your correspondence. We should appreciate your support. Please send us your feedback. Check out Dan's work, Dan Wetzel at ESPN. He's no longer with Yahoo Sports. He's with the big boys because he is a big boy. I mean, he makes an impact. His work is great. And even though whenever he disagrees with me, I find him to be often wrong, I love having him here. And when he agrees
so
with me,
open-minded.
he's a genius. That's what happens to these guys who grew up so close to Harvard. Shawn, where are you going next?
Back to D.C.
I was going to say the bathroom, but
Back
to D.C.
I was there last week. It was in D.C., then Philly, and now back to D.C.
Why D.C. this time?
Michigan, Maryland.
Michigan, Maryland.
If they had lost to Northwestern, I wasn't going to go. I was going to actually sit in the Philly airport when I landed and write off the loss, but they won, so it sets up. If they lose, obviously they'll be. It's funny with this team this year. If they lose or struggle, there's more readership than when they win. So if they lose, we want to be there. If they win, it sets up a fairly big Ohio State game the following week for the playoff with a chance to go to the playoff.
Maybe we need USC to lose.
You know.
So. I think even this Michigan death-defying team should stomp Maryland pretty good.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Really?
I don't know if they'll stomp them.
Really?
Well, they haven't been the greatest road team. They just got to win. Remember, Maryland almost beat them. Was it last year? Maryland almost beat them.
Yeah,
I think it was last year, right before the Ohio State game.
Tagliavoa as the quarterback.
Yeah.
What happened to that
to his
kid?
brother?
Yeah. So anyway, back to DC.
What's going on?
He was the number 2 quarterback in the family.
Back to DC.
Marc,
I got
to see you.
All right. Sounds
just
great.
Pure handsomeness. All right.
So please buy some of our gear. It's a great way to support the show. And if you'd like to see the Smiths United, send me an email at mlsoulofdetroit@gmail.com. I got a ticket. They're $25. We'll go to the show together. We'll do a little pre-party together, and we'll have a hell of a time before we bring in Thanksgiving, which means the Lions, and sadly the next day, the real turkey, your Michigan State Spartans and your Maryland Terrapins. So
that's Friday? That game's
it's the Friday after Thanksgiving.
And then Ohio State, Michigan on Saturday.
Oh, yeah. Are those guys still playing?
It's the greatest week of the year. Thanksgiving week has always been my favorite. Always. More than Christmas, more than New Year's, all of it. Best week of the year. No one's on board with me? All right, fine.
I like any holiday that involves family coming to my house and even more family leaving my house. So I'll have both on Thanksgiving.
All right.
So until next week, thanks for listening. Buy our shit. And Cyrus, take us out.
Can you dig that?
Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Jean Vinza
must be eliminated.
No!
They must use all their skills.
If I can sell merchandise with this holiday pop-up shop, we may be able to save the soul of Detroit.
Surprise!